At last, we've made it to the grand finale, and this series has been an absolute blast. The Rank Wars is one of my favorite tournaments in anime history, and I'm glad I've been able to go down memory lane with you all, and hopefully you learned something new. As we conclude with the B ranks today, we will cover all of the A ranks in this series. From Tamakoma all the way up to Tachikawa Squad, we will be tackling the top dogs of Border and their weapon sets. Now, just to put it out there are still some agents we have not seen fight, nor certain triggers that have been shown in the anime yet, so I apologize for the lack of footage in advance. Additionally, as we haven't had a ton of time with the A-rank agents, things might be covered a little bit more swiftly for the purpose of not stretching things out. Hopefully that makes sense to you all, given the majority of the series has been based around the B-rank agents. Now, before I get into the usual ramblings, if you could, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and turn on notifications for all future uploads. It would be very much appreciated. To kick things off, we start off with the nickname Border's strongest squad, Tamakoma First. Tamakoma First is a special unit that is not 100% controlled by Border and consists of some of the strongest agents. Their triggers differ from the usual, hence them getting the special unit title. It is led by Reiji Kizaki, one of the swollest agents around, also being Shiga Amatori's mentor. As serious as he can be, he has a secret side for Yuri Rendo. At his core, Reiji is a true leader, giving clear and concise orders with quick decision making while also being in a flex role as a perfect all-rounder. The man is practically one of Border's ultimate soldiers that isn't a black trigger user. Reiji's trigger set is actually quite ginormous. For his main triggers alone, he has a Ragus with a thruster optional, followed by a shield, meteor, an asteroid minigun, and a bagworm. His sub-triggers has a duplicate Ragus thruster and a shield with an asteroid and hound assault rifle, spider, and his famous full arms. I have never seen so many triggers on one person. This man is truly an absolute unit and his loadout shows it. Following in the all-rounder position, we have Kyosuke Karasuma, known as Osamu's teacher and Kitora's secret crush. A very laid-back individual and a good teacher in similarity to Reiji. He also likes to tease the heck out of Konami. Karasuma's trigger set is composed of a Kogetsu, an asteroid assault rifle, viper, and a shield for his main triggers. His sub-triggers contain Escudo, Geist, and a bagworm. Just a refresher, Geist is the trigger set that is a double-edged sword. While making his Trion body unstable, he is able to focus more power into certain aspects of his body from speed to weapons. Last but not least, we have Kirei Konami, the gullible and energetic attacker of the team, also ranked 3rd overall. She is Kuga's mentor and has one of the most powerful base triggers that replicates power on a scale of a black trigger. Konami's trigger set is composed of 2 Sogetsus, meteors, and shields for both her main and sub-triggers. Her main trigger also has the connector, which allows her to form her giant axe, while her sub-trigger contains a bagworm. Together, Tamakoma has been said to replicate some neighbor-like fighting styles, and looking at the loadouts, we can clearly see why. I really do hope to see the trio fight together against one insanely hard opponent someday in a huge climax for the series. Jumping to A rank number 8, we have Katagiri Squad, led by Captain Takaaki Katagiri. This squad we have not seen much in the anime, nor have seen them in action, but they have recently debuted in the Away Mission exam arc as judges. I don't expect to see them in action till later down the line, giving Ashihara more room for proper exposition. However, we do know their triggers. Captain Katagiri is a gunner. His main triggers consist of an asteroid and meteor assault rifle with a shield and an egret. His sub-triggers contain a bagworm, dummy beacon, a shield, and a spider. If I were to take a guess as to his fighting style, I'd say he baits people in with the dummy beacon and spider domain and takes them out accordingly from a good distance. Toshiro Momozono is the sniper with the fade. His main triggers are composed of an egret, ibis, and a shield, while his sub-triggers has a bagworm and another shield. Yukimaru Ichijo is the attacker of the team and one of the 12 candidates for Fujin as well. His trigger set is composed of probably the most unique setup I've seen yet for base triggers. His main triggers has a Ragus with a custom thruster and a shield. His sub-triggers has an additional Ragus with the same custom thruster followed by a shield and a bagworm. This loadout sounds crazy and it only makes me impatient to see just how exactly it's used in battle. Lastly, we have Asumi Amakura, who's the only spotter in Border. Her trigger set is composed of an enhanced radar, teleporter, a shield, and a dummy beacon for her main triggers. Her sub-trigger has a bagworm tag. I could see her fighting style as somebody who is constantly tagging enemies and locating them and even using herself as bait if needed. Nevertheless, this is one squad we have got to see in action someday. Moving along to A rank number 7, we come to Miwa Squad. Quite familiar with this squad considering our introduction to them was the Kuga assassination attempt. The team is led by Captain Shuji Miwa, a close range all-rounder and again one of the 12 candidates for Fujin as we have all seen back in season 1. He's got quite the grudge of neighbors for a good reason and the skills to put them down. Miwa's trigger set is composed of a Kogetsu with a shield and a bagworm for his main triggers. His sub-triggers contain an asteroid and viper handgun with a shield and a lead bullet for his handguns. Syncing up with Miwa, we have Yosuke Yonya, the direct opposite personality-wise compared to his captain, but just as equally skilled. Yonya uses a modified Kogetsu in a spear-like style with a Genyo optional followed by a shield and a Senku for his main triggers. His sub-triggers contain a shield and a bagworm. The last two members of the team are Shohei Kodera and Toru Narasaka, both snipers who play off their attacker's momentum. Neither of them like neighbors, but definitely don't show it as much as their captain. Both snipers use Egret, Ibis, Shield, and Lightning for their main triggers with a bagworm and a shield for their sub-triggers. Trailing on up to A rank number 6, we have the all-ladies Keiko unit. We briefly got an intro intro for them back in Season 1 and have gotten a little bit more screen time with them back in Season 2. The team is led by Captain Nozomi Keiko, one of the prettiest captains in the series. She is also one of the 12 candidates for Fujin. Keiko's loadout is composed of a scorpion followed by an unknown prototype trigger known as Timer with a shield and a bagworm. Her sub-triggers contain a hound, an asteroid, a shield, and a teleporter. Just on how proficient she is with shooting, I really do want to see Captain Keiko in a heated battle. I can't imagine the saga that may come with it given her trigger set. Coming in at the attacker position, we have Futaba Kurei, a very serious agent on the field, also being the youngest A rank at just 13 years old. Her trigger set is composed of a Kogetsu and the Mokao prototype trigger, which is unknown, followed by a shield and a Senku. Her sub-triggers are composed of the Ita 10 optional with a shield and a bagworm. Ita 10 is probably one of the coolest optional triggers yet. I hope we get to see more of it and the very limits Futaba can push herself. If there is one team up I do want, it's definitely her and Kuga. Lastly, we have Mai Kirigawa, who has recently got some more presence in the manga. She is in the trapper position, which we are a bit more familiar with in comparison to the spotter. Her main triggers are composed of Switchbox, Chameleon, and a shield. Her sub-trigger contains the bagworm tag, which we still don't know much about. Spotters and trappers are roles I want to see more of. They are very supportive and analytical, and that stuff is right up my alley. Coming up at number 5, we have some familiar faces with Arashiyama Squad, one of the first A-rank squads we get to meet early on in the series. The squad is led by Captain Jun Arashiyama, one of the people who represent Border publicly and is on the good side of Tamakoma too. Arashiyama comes in at an all-rounder. His trigger set is composed of an asteroid and meteor assault rifle with a shield for his main triggers. His sub-triggers contain a scorpion, teleporter optional, a shield, and a bagworm. Synergizing with his captain comes Mitsuru Tokiita. The man is the king of keeping a straight face no matter what situation he's in. You honestly gotta respect the lifestyle. Tokiita is an all-rounder and has the same exact trigger set as Arashiyama. Of course, the main member that really makes this unit is none other than Ai Kitora, one of the first woman A-rank agents we meet and one that was definitely on Mikumo's case early on in the series. Though she can be a bit harsh, she has a kind side to her, especially when Kurasama is present. What's more is that she is also one of the few mentors that taught Mikumo something, and for her, it was Spider. Kitora is an all-rounder, having an asteroid and a spider handgun with a shield for her main triggers. Her sub-triggers contain a scorpion, a shield, and a bagworm. I also forgot to mention she is one of the 12 candidates for Fujin as well. The last member of the squad is the dual-wielding sniper himself, Ken Satori. Definitely the goofiest personality on the team, but when you can wield 2 snipers and not miss, who can complain? Satori's trigger set is composed of an egret and a shield for his main triggers, with an additional egret, shield, and a bagworm for his sub-triggers. Coming again with some more unfamiliar faces at A rank number 4 comes Kusakabe Squad. For majority of the series, so far we have only been introduced to Shun and just recently Satomi back in Season 3 with Mikumo getting some tips from him. The last 3 members have been revealed in the manga. Kusakabe Squad is actually one of the only squads that is led by an operator. Saki Kusakabe is a former gunner gone operator after losing to Kitora. Her trigger set is currently unknown. Coming in the attacker role, we have Shun Midorikawa. He's pretty much been holding the team down while the rest were away on business. Shun's trigger set is composed of a scorpion, grasshopper, and a shield for his main triggers. His sub-triggers contain an additional scorpion, grasshopper, and shield with a bagworm. Now, as for the rest of the team, we have not seen them in action. Last season, we were introduced to Kazuma Satomi, who was the #1 gunner in Border. Personality-wise, he came off as a friendly guy, but on the battlefield, it's anyone's guess. The last 2 members of the team are Ryuji Seiki coming in as an all-rounder and Hayato Uno as the sniper. Seiki's trigger set contains a Kogetsu with a Senku optional, followed by an Escudo and a shield for his main triggers. His sub-triggers contain an asteroid assault rifle, an additional Escudo, and a shield with a bagworm. Satomi's trigger set is composed of an asteroid and hound assault rifle with a shield for his main triggers. His sub-triggers contain an asteroid handgun with a shield and a bagworm. Uno's trigger set has a lightning, egret, and a shield for his main triggers, with a bagworm, a silencer optional, and a shield for his sub-triggers. With Kusakabe Squad covered, we were in the final stretch for the last 3 A-rank squads. At A-rank number 3, we have Kazuma Squad led by Soya Kazuma, their emblem representing the art of stealth as they specialize in tactical chameleon usage. Kazuma is the #2 attacker of Border and one of the 12 candidates for Fujin. His main triggers are composed of a scorpion and a shield, while his sub-triggers contain another scorpion, chameleon, and another shield. Ryo Utagawa is the all-rounder of the team. He typically tends to apologize to others for his teammates' harsh words. His trigger set is composed of a scorpion, meteor, shield, and an asteroid for his main triggers, with an additional scorpion, chameleon, and another shield, and a bagworm for his sub-triggers. Last but not least, coming in at the attacker role and a key player on the team, we have Shiroku Kuchihara, a quiet person who tends to sneak diss others on the low but can be pretty helpful when needed. His main triggers contain a scorpion and a shield, while his sub-triggers contain an additional scorpion and a shield with a chameleon and a bagworm. He also has an enhanced hearing side effect which can be used in sync with his teammates to help aid against surprise and sneak attacks from hidden angles. At A rank number 2, we have Fuyushima Squad led by Captain Shinji Fuyushima. He's a trapper that controls things from a distance. We've seen him a lot in the base or on top of the rooftop making the magic happen. Fuyushima's trigger set is composed of a switchbox, chameleon, and a shield for his main triggers. His sub-triggers contains the bagworm tag optional. Just Just a note, the switch box is the briefcase computer we saw him use back on the rooftop in the After Crater arc. Coming in as the #1 sniper at border is Isami Toma, the most handsome sniper of them all. His trigger set is composed of an egret with a shield for his main triggers with a bagworm and a shield for his sub-triggers. At last, coming in at A rank numero uno, we have Tachikawa Squad led by Kei Tachikawa, the #1 attacker and #1 overall agent at border. Jin's rival and a master with the Kogetsu blade, being able to dual wield them as well. Tachikawa's trigger set is composed of 2 Kogetsu, Senku, and shield for both his trigger sets. His main trigger has a grasshopper while his sub-trigger has the bagworm. As the shooter of the team, we have Kohei Izumi. His trigger set is composed of an asteroid, meteor, and bagworm and a shield for his main triggers. His sub-triggers contain an asteroid, viper, hound, and a shield. Lastly, we have Takuru Yuiga. Quite the spoiled kid considering he's the son of Border's biggest sponsor. He bought his A to A rank, but he's not completely useless. His trigger set is composed of 2 asteroid handguns and a shield, with a chameleon in the main slot and a bagworm in the sub slot. Now this video will be automatically flawed if we didn't include the A rank solo agent Yuichi Jin, the Fujin trickster and the original Gojo and Hawks character archetype. This man has been helping Border through some of its craziest invasions with a side effect and still continues to make big plays. Jin's trigger set is composed of 2 scorpions, 2 escudos, and 2 shields. Now I'm sure you all are wondering why exactly have I not made any comments about what I would change about these squads. To put it simply, we still need more fights from these agents, but they are also the best of the best for a reason. I don't think I changed anything about these squads because they are already in a position where their skills are recognized to be some of the best Border has to offer. In any case, I just want to see more of them, especially with Kusakabe Squad. My biggest dream for the series is to have all A rank and B rank teams come together for the ultimate battle and Border's biggest stand against an enemy yet to be seen. It would be one of the biggest wars in anime history and probably have some of the most consistent and well executed fights in manga history as well. It all comes down to one statement: in Ashihara, we simply trust. With that, it's gonna bring me to the end of this video and the conclusion of the Trigger Set series. First and foremost, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who stuck through the series weekly and of course show much love to the World Trigger community. I hope this was something you all enjoyed, as the amount of days and sleepless nights I invested was something I felt was worthwhile. This might be my last World Trigger video just for a little bit, but who knows, maybe I'll pop out with a surprise as the year goes on. If you can, make sure to leave all your thoughts and comments about the video down below. I would also appreciate the feedback from you guys as well. Stay safe out there, and I will catch you guys in the next video.